Today, we're diving into a really personal story from deep inside the world of medicine. It's a journey that kind of pulls back the curtain on the hidden pressures faced by the very people we trust to heal us. Okay, let's start with this core belief, because honestly, it's the foundation for everything that happens next. The entire identity of being a doctor was built on one simple idea: you are a fixer. You diagnose problems, you patch people up, and you move on to the next one. You're always the helper, never, ever the one who needs help. So this fixer myth that created this whole culture where just pure endurance was everything. For junior doctors working these grueling hours, I'm talking 48, sometimes even 56 hours without any real rest, it wasn't just an expectation. It was a badge of honor. It was how you showed you were truly dedicated. I mean, can you just imagine the pressure? You're surrounded by colleagues who all seem to be managing just fine, so you just keep pushing. You bury any sign that you're struggling. You just had to keep going, because falling behind felt like a massive personal failure.
But a culture like that, it always has consequences. Burnout isn't this big, sudden event. It's more like a slow erosion. It doesn't send you a warning text. It just quietly creeps in and starts to hollow you out from the inside.
So behind that professional, calm exterior, this was the reality. A slow, quiet, internal collapse that was just becoming impossible to ignore anymore.
And what's so striking is how burnout started showing up in these small, everyday ways. This wasn't just about feeling tired at work. No, it was dreading the sound of your own pager, needing absolute, total silence in the car on the drive home, or feeling a cheering crowd at a football game not as fun, but as this painful assault on your senses. Joy itself was being systematically taken away.
So swimming became a sanctuary. It was a place where the world finally went silent. And the water, well, the water could hide the tears. It was this vital coping mechanism, right? A temporary release valve for all that pressure. But it was a place to hide the problem, not solve it.
But a breaking point was coming. It had to. For a long time, though, denial was the default setting. I mean, picture it. You're scrolling through the symptoms of depression online, and you're recognizing every single one. But you're terrified of admitting it, terrified of trading that white coat for a patient's gown.
And this is the central question of this whole story, isn't it? When the person that everyone else turns to for help is the one who's actually falling apart, what happens next?
Well, this is what came next. A moment of just complete and total surrender. All the walls, all the defenses built up over years and years of training, they finally came crashing down in a doctor's office, only this time as the patient. Two simple words, but they were the hardest to say and the most important. That admission, it wasn't a sign of failure. It was the turning point. It was the moment that finally cracked the door open to the possibility of healing. So that moment of surrender, that was the beginning of a whole new chapter. But healing wasn't some instant fix, not at all. It was a slow, humbling process of putting all the pieces back together, of basically starting over and relearning the very basics of self-care. The journey really began with professional guidance. A GP provided this clear, structured path forward: medication to get stable, therapy to start processing everything, and crucially, taking time away from the source of the burnout. It was about rebuilding a foundation, one small routine at a time.
And it became clear pretty quickly that recovery is multifaceted. It wasn't just one thing, but this combination of different pieces. You had the professional help from therapy and medication, the physical release of swimming, the creative outlet of drumming, and even modern tools like the Soothfy app for practicing mindfulness.
So the crucial point here is this idea of a mosaic. There's no single cure for burnout. It's about finding the unique combination of pieces that work for you. Everyone's mosaic is going to look a little different, and that is completely 100% okay.
This entire experience led to this profound shift in perspective. It wasn't about being an invincible fixer anymore. It was about embracing the reality of being human, and then sharing that vulnerability to help change the culture for everyone else.
Right here is the transformation in black and white. The old myth was all about endurance at any cost. The new reality, discovered through a whole lot of pain, is that true strength is actually in asking for help. And healing isn't about outlasting burnout, it's about rebuilding. This new reality leads to a really powerful call for change. Why do we treat mental health so differently from physical health, especially for our healers? If we normalize things like flu shots,
then mental recovery and just plain old rest deserve the exact same respect.
Recovery doesn't mean life becomes perfect. The stress of medicine, it's still there. But the difference now is the toolkit. There are levers to pull: swimming, drumming, therapy, a mindfulness app, even just a simple breathing exercise to stay intact and ultimately to be a better doctor. So whether you're a healer or just someone out there trying to hold it all together, this is the big takeaway. Taking care of yourself is not an indulgence. It's an absolute necessity for survival and for being able to really care for anyone else.
This just says it all. The journey led to this fundamental shift in identity, away from being some flawless machine and toward being a fallible but resilient human. And that realization, it changes everything.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to consider. When we finally acknowledge our own humanity, our own vulnerability, is that the moment we truly learn how to care, both for ourselves and for others?